trail miles apart, and I won't leave, 'cause I guarantee that I never find where you are. Won't be, 'cause I never see why you're so afraid that you all away from me. You're so afraid that you all away from me.
Define us. This is the podcast by mentalhealth. We're here to, as always, feature stories about men who have been through some very, very dark things, whether it be depression, anxiety, bipolar, PTSD, substance abuse. We like to feature men who have gone the distance between a very dark place and finding help and feeling better and doing better. And we always ask, if you know of somebody who's gone through that journey, to please send them our way. Today we have James Haig. Jay Haig. I'm going to switch our spots. This gentleman is lovely. He has gone through some very difficult times, and he has been feeling very, very good. And I have some questions for you for some things that I saw on your Instagram page. But before we get to that, I just wanted to give you a moment to introduce yourself and just give us a little history about yourself.
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Jay. I'm 43 years old, father of 3, loyal and loving husband, and just trying to bumble my way through life as best I can, and
Right?
just be a nice guy. That's basically, that's my story.
It's so true. I think all of us just trying to muddle our way through, and it can be very, very hard. I wanted to start a little bit with your history. If there was something, tell us about what it was like as a kid in your family, mom, dad, siblings. Was there anything?
Great childhood.
Great childhood, wonderful.
Yeah, really great childhood. Lovely parents, very dedicated, very loyal, loving parents. A lot of fun times. Didn't have much when that well off. Quite poor growing up. 1980s council estate kids growing up and stuff. But I mightn't have always had what I wanted, but I definitely always had what I needed. My mum and dad worked really hard to look after us, and it was a really good life. And I had a very happy childhood. I remember a lot of good times, and very loving, very caring parents who still look after me for to this day. They're great, absolute rock.
That's beautiful, and you're very blessed, because not everybody has that, and I'm so glad that you do. Having that foundation support is so critical.
They're amazing. They are really great parents. My dad struggled a little bit when I first got diagnosed. But over time he's adapted, and he's learned to understand me a little bit better now, and actually understands my mental condition. So we've got a much better and much healthier relationship these days as well.
Good. So what was it? Tell us what happened. Where did that struggle begin? Was there an event?
The trigger. There's probably 3 events in the past decade that have really messed me up.
Okay.
The first one, which was the start of it all, was breakdown of my marriage. And within a very short space of time, my whole life just completely unraveled, totally fell apart, and I reached rock bottom in a very short space of time. Okay. And I reached that proverbial cliff edge, and I didn't have the strength to walk away. I jumped off. I took a very large overdose cocktail of paracetamol, dihydrocodeine, and citalopram. Oh, wow. And it was a lot. Yeah. And to make sure, I also stuck a rope around my neck and tried to hang myself. Oh. I really just wanted out. I was broken and just couldn't handle life. Yeah. It wasn't a call for help. I really did just want to end it. It was I reached a point where the pain was so severe inside me. Yeah. I just couldn't think of any other way to make it stop. I didn't particularly want to die. I just couldn't think of any other way to make this pain end. So that's what I did. Wow. Had a very terrifying near-death experience that I don't really talk to anyone about, because it just sounds so surreal. It makes you sound like a complete nut job. But there was no tunnel of white light. There was none of that cliche stuff. It was terrifying.
Oh, really?
And it changed me. It left some really deep mental scars. And for a long time, I felt like I wasn't sort of welcome in heaven. I'd been kind of kicked out of whatever the other dimension was where I'd gone to. I wasn't welcome there. And when I came back to sort of the real world, life and whatever, I felt like I had no sense of purpose here either. Couldn't understand where the hell I was. Something very strange happened to me, and it just completely broke me. And I was never the same for quite a long time after it.
Right. Well, while we're there, and I know it does speak to belief systems, but I personally think there is life after death. I think where we are is temporary. And I have heard of many life after death experiences. And you're correct. Not all of them are the bright white light.
Yeah, it's
They're
not
not
always
happy.
pleasant.
And so sometimes what we see and what's reported is that you can see sort of the dark spirits or the dark side or that low energy place after what that looks like on the other side of this physical world. And then sometimes you see that bright light and, the peace and the calm and the contentment. And sometimes what is reported is that you see with where you are energetically, emotionally, spiritually.
I think
And
that's kind of what I took from it.
yeah.
It was more like it was sort of an analogy. It was the hell that I was experiencing wherever I went in that near-death moment. That was what I was living in life, and something had to change.
Yeah. Lots of very interesting after-death experiences. I find them very fascinating. So I certainly encourage people to read about them because it does make you believe that at the very least, there's something that we are to look
there's
forward
something else
to.
out there.
Something we can look forward to. So tell me, so when these suicide attempts didn't work, thank God. And that right there, I hope tells you something. You're here.
Oh,
for
I'm
a
destined
purpose.
for something else. Yeah. There's definitely some other thing happening.
And when did you decide to stop trying to end your life? What was the thing that turned you around and said, okay, I'm going to tackle this and try to get better?
So I prescribed to all the sort of usual methods, and in the UK, not blaming any of the staff who do it, it's no fault of their own. They've got very limited resources, and unfortunately, mental health care in the UK is pretty poor unless you can afford private treatment. And I've often felt very neglected and let down by the system and just had enough, so figured there was something I had to do. 2020, couldn't get in to see anyone. I was doing some sort of like silver cloud stuff online, and I just felt totally alone. I thought, this is pointless. What I'm doing is just, it's not working. I've got to find some way of fixing myself and taking accountability for me. I think what it was, I sort of sat down one day and thought about it, and it was like, the difference between your physical health and trusting it to a doctor, and your mental health for me was like, you're entrusting your personality and who you are and whatever in someone else's hands, and they don't know exactly how you tick or whatever, and it just didn't seem right. So it was more, hold yourself accountable and sort your own shit out and figure out what it is that's going to actually work for you. So I sort of set out on the journey in 2021 and decided it was like, my family deserved better. I'd become a truly horrible human being. It was a waste of space. I was just awful. Didn't really care about anyone or anything. And just decided, I am sick of your own bullshit. There was something in me that told me, like, my higher self spoke to my ego and just went, you do not control us anymore. We're not putting up with this. And I just, made a concerted effort just to be a better person for my wife and kids.
Wow.
That was like the journey started. I'm going to say sort of February 2021. So it was. Do you want to hear that? It's like quite a funny story how my journey and like really improving my mental health happened. 2021, January 1st, Billy Billingham put a post up, and it's like this really inspirational little quote and stuff. He said, just set yourself some goals. And joking around, I replied and said, my goal for this year is to meet you, Ollie Ollerton, Ant Middleton, and Jason Fox. As you're all masters of escape and evasion, I think I might have set my goals too high. I had a little giggle about it, and I thought nothing of it. And it was weeks later, I was in a dark place, my head was going west, and I had a little giggle about it, and I thought, you know what, it might actually be fun to do that. It might just be fun. So I'm
Neat.
going to do it. And I set about somehow meeting these people. I've read Ollie Ollerton's book, Battle Ready, and he talks about like spiritual psychology and mental wealth.
Yeah.
And that really interested me. So I started getting into like meditation, visualizing and manifesting stuff.
Good. Mm-hmm.
And at first, I was quite cynical about it until it started working. And I visualized meeting Billy Billingham. A fortnight later, the opportunity to meet him came up. I bombed it up to Blackpool, visualized exactly where he was going to be, and literally walked around the corner on Blackpool Pier, and he's standing there with his dog Alfie.
Oh my.
It happened. I visualized it, made it happen. I visualized speaking to Ollie Ollerton. He was actually meant to be at a book signing over the water where I live, and unfortunately, due to circumstances, it got cancelled. But I was able to speak to him on a IGTV live feed that he did, and asked him the questions, and it was the same, like what I'd visualized asking him in the shop. I asked him that question, and it was the kind of response that I expected was what he gave me back. He also wished me a happy birthday and sent me a copy of his latest book signed as well. And I've spoken to him since. I'm under no illusions that like we're going to ever be besties or that, but it's nice when he sends you a little thumbs up or a fist bump or like something you've commented on. It's kind of like a positive affirmation for me that I'm not always a dickhead, and people like Ollie who are particularly admirable, respectable people, kind of boosts your confidence, makes you feel good, and one of them gives you a little pat on the back.
It's amazing just that little acknowledgement, how far it can go, and good for them for really paying attention to their messages, because I think they understand that all of us quote unquote little people need those little affirmations. And I'm a huge believer in the law of attraction and visualization, meditation. So good for you. And I just love what you said. I was cynical right up until I noticed it was working.
Stuff started working. I visualized meeting Aunt Middleton. Same sort of thing happened. It was I'm going to meet Aunt Middleton. I'm going to go into. I knew he was doing a tour, and he was at the MS Arena in Liverpool. I thought, I'm just going to go into town, and I'm going to try and bump into him. I'm just going to go and hang around at the arena, see if I can get to sign my book and stuff. And I flicked on social media that morning, and there he is in the back of a people carrier thing. He's chatting. He's like, right, I'm going to be at the flannel store in Liverpool 1 at about 1:30 this afternoon. Come and say hello. Strolled down there, walked in, had a nice chat, got some lovely photos took with him. He gave my son a pep talk, all like positive mental attitude things about my son's like got this dream to be an F1 driver, and he just talked to him, really focused on my little fella as well. Really great experience. So what started off as just, it might be fun, actually really worked at improving my mental health and turned around my life to the sort of position that I'm now in.
That's great. And at the end, I always do a references page for our guests. So we're going to be posting your favorite books and speakers and so forth. A question for you about COVID and the pandemic and the lockdown. You said January 2021 was really, really tough for you. Do you think the pandemic contributed to that, all the isolation, or do you think you were going that way, say the pandemic had never happened, or do you think the isolation sort of...
I'd be lying if I said the like pandemic exacerbated it or made it worse. I'd neglected my mental health for a very long time and just tried to sort of bumble through and hide it from people and whatever. And it wasn't really working. So COVID or no COVID, I think I was sort of just destined at some point to finally crack and go, enough's enough, got to change.
Gotcha. Now your family, you're doing so much better, and obviously
I have a great relationship with my family now.
Okay, so that was my next question. I'm like, they must be. Are you in contact with them? They must be thrilled to see how well you're doing.
So I've got 2 kids to my ex-wife. See them fairly regularly, keeping close contact with them. An amazing relationship with my daughter, who's 17. She's got a first job, so super proud of her, and she's got her own issues with life, but she gets through somehow, and she's sort of picking up little hints and tips from me along the way as I learn things. I try and pass on stuff that I think might help her out, and she's smashing it. She's winning at life. Really proud of her. Super cool girl. My son as well, see him fairly regularly. Good lad, heart of gold, really sensitive, gentle soul. I'm just so proud of him. And my little fella who lives with me, obviously me and my missus get on great. Even my relationship with my ex-missus is pretty good. And we don't speak regularly, but we are, we're amicable with each other. We get on quite well.
Right.
Parents still around, good relationship with my sister. So I've got a good network of people who keep me safe and try and do the best to keep me somewhat sane.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they must be proud of you because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's not overnight. One of your posts, I wanted to talk about the author Brodman. You said it was a 5-day or a 5-step.
Yeah, James Baldwin.
Yeah. Tell us about him. I found that post really interesting.
He's a really cool guy. He's an ex-Royal Marine. And when he left, I think it was 2011, he lost his sense of identity and completely fell apart. Reached his proverbial cliff edge kind of thing, attempted suicide himself and decided, enough's enough, I've got to change. And he wrote like sort of self-help books and came up with different challenging things to just help men find their sense of purpose again, and to find structure and meaning in your life. He runs them a number of times throughout the year, so you get a 5-day free challenge, and that gives you a little taster. And I really enjoyed it, and I could see the benefit from it, but realised that I couldn't do it on my own. I needed some sort of guidance and accountability. So paid a few quid. It wasn't very expensive. It's 140 quid, 150 quid, something like that. And you get all sorts of like free stuff that goes along with it. So there's like a diet and nutrition guide, there's an exercise guide, and it just sets you up for a better mindset, how to deal with the things that life throws at you, and how to have a more resilient mindset. And he's just a really great guy. Really did help me sort of find a sort of inner core, found myself again, and to just find like your confidence and a reason for being, sense of purpose, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love it. And we'll definitely be posting pictures of those books because people need resources. You had mentioned that resources are limited in England. And I actually had 2 questions. Well, actually one, an observation. You had mentioned that at first you didn't know what to do. So you just started reaching out on social media to help you connect with people, to make you feel like, you weren't alone. That sometimes you don't have a ton of friends or you don't have a supportive family, and to do what you did and just start reaching out and looking for people on Instagram or what have you, you will quickly find a community that's willing to lift you up.
There's a lot of people out there, and I think one thing that kind of annoys me is the way that the world is kind of perceived at the moment is that we all hate each other and everyone's in each other's face, and there's a lot of division and hatred. And there's I guess if you go look, it's true what they say. If you go looking for trouble, you'll find it.
Right.
The same can be said for good stuff. If you go out there and you just search for positive people and nice people and like-minded people who've got the same goal, same passions, same dreams and ideals, you will find them.
Yeah, for sure. And my other question for you, have you ever had therapy? Like, did you get to your physician, talk to your physician about how you're feeling and go see a therapist? Or have you been able to accomplish all this with your books and your research?
So after feeling neglected and let down by the system for a long time, and me deciding I'm going to be stubborn and do this all on my own, for the whole of 2020, for most of 2020, and certainly all of 2021, I haven't relied on any therapy at all. From outside sources. It has just been immersing myself in books by Ollie Ollerton, Ant Middleton, Jason Fox, Billy Billingham, Jordan Peterson, following and listening to like sort of stoic podcasts, that kind of thing, and other really cool inspirational people who I just like, who are just being nice and trying to spread love around the world. So people like Nicole Arbour. She's hilariously funny, and just a genuinely, like, you can just tell she's just a beautiful human being. And she's really inspirational as well. That girl has been through some serious hardship. So people like that, just I use that as like sort of, that gives me my strength and my energy, is like to see that there are really good people in this world. It's not all darkness and moodiness. You just got to go and look where the light is, kind of thing.
I absolutely agree. It's what you look for is what you're finding. It's so true. And you actually overlapped into one of my questions. You've been answering the book question, your favorite books, your favorite speakers. You mentioned podcasts. Any favorite movies or even fictional characters that inspire you?
Fictional character I'll go for Alex Abbott. It's a character in Ollie Ollerton's book, Scar Tissue, and the new one's just come out, All or Nothing, which I can't wait to get into. But Alex is just like, I don't know, there's just something relatable about him. He's ex-special forces guy, but he's not this superhuman, and he is a broken man, and he's got lots of faults and failures, and he makes fuck up all the time, and he's just a really cool character. So yeah, he's probably not like, I guess he's like an anti-hero sort of.
Yeah, I understand.
Admirable qualities in a way, but yeah, he's like a lovable rogue. So I kind of like him.
Okay, I like that. So I now you got me curious. I'm going to look into that. So I wanted you to be able to kind of look back at your old self and your new self. If you were to feel yourself sort of going dark, getting down, getting more depressed again, compared to the way you handled it before, what do you think would be different now? What would you do now so that you're not going that depressed or that dark?
Well, I've got a lot of healthier coping mechanisms. So it used to be sex, drugs, rock and roll. That was basically it. That was all I had any interest in. Sinking myself to the bottom of a bottle or consuming copious quantities of cannabis to just numb it out and get rid of it. And it really wasn't healthy. It was bad. I was just wasting my life. And now it's like diet, exercise, nutrition, meditating, visualizing, manifesting, reaching out and actually speaking to people rather than just bottling it all up the way I used to and thinking this is a burden to other people. It's trying to approach it from a more sort of positive slant and say, you know, I'm not just going to dump my shit on you. It's like, is it okay if I talk to you? I've got issues today. Can I speak to someone? And it will either be like friends or family and things like that. And it's a much more sort of like reciprocal arrangement now. It's not just like me expected to dump shit on you and just like, there you go, that's yours.
I understand.
Which is nice, you know, it does, and it kind of works both ways. It's like I'm much more receptive now if someone else is having a bad day, and it's like, yeah, come and speak to me then. Whereas it used to be very much me being defensive and just like, I've got enough shit of my own to deal with, go away.
Can't pour from an empty cup. I say it all the time. Yeah, for sure. Well, I love that. And I love that question because it certainly gives you an appreciation of what all that hard work will bring you. You know what I'm saying? It does bring you a new way to cope with things and putting new coping mechanisms in place. It's so very important. So Jay, as we close, I'm just going to put a side by side here.
Okay.
I always like to give our guests a chance to just say to that person who has been as dark as you, who has had it, I just want to end it. There's no other way to end this pain. And people really believe that. Obviously, this is what's going on in England. What could you say to that person today that you could get them to hang on?
No matter how hard life gets, just try and be grateful for one thing. Show gratitude. If you can be grateful for one thing, then you can find hope. And if you can find hope, you'll find the strength to pull yourself out of whatever dark hole you're in. Kind of look back over your life over the years. It always somehow has a way of figuring itself out and turning out all right. Even when you are at your darkest and lowest ebb, if you just battle through it, it will get better. Because it always does, and it always has, no matter how many look back over your past. It does, it always gets better. And it was something, my daughter's actually extremely inspirational to me. For a 17-year-old, she is seriously clued up.
Wow.
And she's a super smart kid. And we were talking one day and she said about suicide and things like that and depression. And she was like, you could end it all today. And tomorrow might have been the day that you were meant to win the lottery.
What a smart girl. Thank God for her.
It's that there's always that chance. If you are alive, the one thing you've got is opportunity. You've got the chance to change and to make your life what you want it to be. You don't have to stick to whatever prescribed guidelines you've been told to. It's up to you. Grab hold of it. Grab hold of your life and wrestle it into some sort of thing that you are proud of. Great quote Ollie Ollerton said was, make your today yesterday that you will be proud of.
I love that. Make your today a yesterday you'll be proud of. I love that. We're going to
Yeah.
add that. Oh my
So
gosh.
and it was like the James Baldwin thing. It's not about making massive leaps and bounds. It's the
Mhm.
1%.
Yeah.
If you can just get 1% better every day
Yeah.
in every little thing that you do, all those little 1% wins add up. And before
Yeah.
long, you are absolutely smashing it at life.
Yeah.
And you can see light at the end of the tunnel. And you can see goodness everywhere because you appreciate every little thing.
Mhm. Wow, Jay, that's perfect, and it's so true because, like you said, if you've survived 100% of your days, you've survived 100% of those dark days too,
Yeah.
and that shows that wherever you are today, nothing is permanent. And
Yeah.
one of my husband's favorite quotes is, "You don't want to make a permanent decision to a temporary problem."
Yeah.
So yes, please do hang on and listen to people like yourself and read the books like you're reading and do the work like you're doing. I think you're wonderful, and I think you're inspiring people,
Thank you.
and you're a beautiful example of doing the work and really putting in
Yeah.
1% every day over
That's it. Work
365
on
days.
yourself. Yeah,
Is a
that's all
lot.
you've got to do. It is. It's dig deep. I mean, it's rough. There are
Yeah.
times where it's like you've got to get through a lot of messy emotional baggage, and you're going to hurt yourself doing it.
Mhm.
But you've got to do it to get through the other side. And once you do, and it's like you start holding yourself accountable for your beliefs, your actions, and everything. It's a lot easier for you to figure out just who you are as a person and find yourself again.
Well, Jay, thank you so much. You have been lovely, and your episode is gonna bring hope, because that's what we're trying to do here, and you're a perfect example of what we're trying to bring forward here at Mentel and with this podcast. So I do thank you for your time,
You're very
and
welcome. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
thank
It's
you. And
lovely
if,
to speak to you, Stacey. Thanks a lot.
oh my gosh, you too. We've been connected for a little while. I'm so glad you finally reached out. And if you do think of anyone else who would like to share their story,
Yeah, will do.
please do send them our way. Those are the stories we want to feature to spread that hope around.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
spread the love and share the positivity.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much. You have
no
a good rest
problem.
of your day.
You
Thank
too.
you. Thanks.
Thanks. Right. See you later, Stacey. Bye
See
bye.
you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.